Yeah, very big welcome to you, my dear Scorpio. So, the sun is in Gemini, the lovers, ruled by Mercury and the third house of communication, and highlighting the moon in Scorpio, here the eighth house of reincarnation, ruled by Pluto, the judge. And yeah, we can see that here is an interesting story happening. It's almost like this bird is giving him a perspective, a bird perspective, and she is holding on to him. And so there is something that is speaking to you about, as we can see here, the cutting off of maybe a relationship. And of course, death here in the Hermann Handel Tarot is bringing you an intense moment. Could also be an intense moment of a sexual transformation. La petite mort, right, is also called the orgasm. And so here we have a communication between a couple that can be very intense, of a sexual union, right? We come together and it's like, wow, we discover something very profound between each other. Here, this is the Light Seer Tarot, and of course Hermann Handel. I have all the cards listed down below in the description box. And so here, just that you see that the sun is giving the moon the light. Now I can also place this card, of course, here, right? Then it's a completely different story. It's almost like, well, her spirit guide is looking in this direction, because you know that I'm doing right and left spinning readings. And so when I place the card here, it's almost like we're reading to the left. And when I place the card here, we are reading to the right. So the yoga position that I gave Gemini is King Pigeon, a very intense position that opens up our heart while we reaching into the subconscious through the relationship. And for you, I gave you also a difficult position, which is Scorpio, of course. Here you bring your feet above your head and you are allowing yourself to be transformed, deeply transformed, right? And that transformation comes to all of us, which is in the end death. The court card for you in Hermann Handel's Tarot is Odin. And the interesting thing is that Odin is pointing from the tree down to the rune alphabet here in his deck. So you are pointing down to the runes, and these runes say Tarot. And here you are, right, knowing that the Tarot is an important message, a divination for all of us to learn, and how better to put them into a deck of cards that we can play with. And the playfulness makes it less intense, because sometimes these pictures are quite intense, particularly here in the Hermann Handel. And I picked the cards not just randomly. It just happened that I mixed the more contemporary with the more older decks, and I went by years, and so the Hermann Handel fell into your hands, and I think it's what it is, right? So here it is. Odin. Is your birthday between October 13 and November 12, then of course the King of Cups is your court card. Just that you know, here Rider-Waite is looking at that, and it's almost like saying now, you gotta let go of this. You gotta let go of this type of personality and see now that you have to dive deeper by going into a reverse, by learning also the rune alphabet, right? It's very interesting because I'm using, of course, now all the cards from the Hermann Handel Tarot, and it changes the reading already. Back to the last reading where Taurus Sun was giving you a full moon eclipse, a Scorpio full moon eclipse. You had the message, how deep is your love, my dear Scorpio, for yourself. And back then, the message of really the Bee Gees song, How Deep Is Your Love, came up. And yeah, not only how deep is your love, but how deep is your love for yourself. So we see now what Gemini is wanting to tell you, and we begin the reading through the Fool, right? That foolish idea that just comes to you all of a sudden. And here you get the King of Swords, the Aquarian age. And just that you know, my right spinning readings are connected with the Earth, spin around its own axis every 24 hours. These are the daily readings that I'm doing. Here you get the message from the Sun as that, okay, here we are recognizing that the Sun is influencing the Moon that is in my subconscious, right? And these are the daily readings that you only get once a month from me, exactly on the day the Moon is in your sign. And then on your full moon, you get the full reading, which I have then all 22 major arcanas here, but I read them from right to left. And I connect that with the spin of the Earth around its own axis again. It's not a spin, it's actually a wobble, and that wobble lasts 25,800 years. And that would divide through the 12 zodiac signs, and we get an age of 2,150 years. And currently we go from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. Aquarius sitting here on his throne, and he is strong. He is connected with this mental understanding of how things work, right? He's a great architect. He is someone that is learning constantly everything about science, and he's a very learned and a very intelligent personality. And so there is this thought coming to you, right? And you see how the Fool here in Hermann Handel, these are German cards, right, is looking like he has a mask on, and you see how he's actually touching the swan. And these cards are very mysterious, right? So there is a very mysterious energy happening to you because of the Aquarius timing that is speaking to you directly now through here, the King of Swords. So there is something in your mind, something on your mind, right? And we will see what that is. Now on the position of the Magician, here comes the Ghost Dance, the number 22, immediately a portal. Now the King of Swords is the 11th zodiac sign, so it's the 11th house of friends and friendships. And the Ghost Dance is something of a portal, right? So here the number 11 comes directly through Aquarius, and then you have here a 22. But you have also the 0, which in the end is not added to the 11, right? Just that you see that when I calculate them together, that there's a new number emerging. And here I have the 22 as the Ghost Dance, but with the 1 above, it becomes a 23. So the portal in itself, you have an 11 and a 22 portal. There's a Ghost Dance speaking about learning that your ancestors helping you through the Magician's eye to get clarity, because this is the sword, and it's a clarity within your brain, within your mind, getting out of the fog and knowing that the magician holds all 4 elements, and he's the 5th element, right? The 5th sense. He's space itself, and in space we can uplift the fog and go from 22 as a portal itself into the 23, which then becomes a 5, and the 5 is the 5 senses. So you are learning to get through the 5 senses and come out of this fog within your brain, right? And 2 times 2 is of course the high priestess, right? And then of course with the 23 we have 2 women, the high priestess and the empress, coming together and bringing to you then the number 5, the 5 of I am now connecting with the 5 senses, so that I can see that the age of Aquarius is in our head, is affecting deeply our head, and we need to learn to really be vigilant. We need to learn to meditate. We need to learn to come deep within ourselves. Then on the position of the high priestess comes the Hierophant, comes the 5, right? So it's almost like saying, okay, yeah, you're right. Here you have then the 23, which becomes a 5. Then it's a 5-5 portal. But you also have the 2 above. Then it's becoming a 7 calculated together. And here's the Hierophant. Here is Taurus, right? And Taurus Sun last time gave you the Scorpio full moon eclipse. And Taurus is your opposite energy. Taurus is what you want to reach for. Taurus is the path for you, right? And that's why on your full moon, which last time, right, you had the Scorpio full moon eclipse, that's when you had the big reading. You had all 22 major arcanas lying there. And how deep is your love came up. How deep is your love to be intuitive? How deep is your love to go a step further into the spiritual that most people don't even dare going because they're afraid. They don't understand that there are messages, that there is information, and that we have Venus ruled. Taurus is Venus ruled. And it's your path to become more grounded, right, out of the water, coming deeper into the earthly aspects. And it looks a little bit, the fog is water, right? It's just floating in the air. And it's really interesting because I get then through Aquarius that the fog comes through Aquarius, right? Because it's an air sign, and fog happens always on an air sign. And we just had yesterday the moon in Libra. That's also an air sign. But this is really interesting that now you get this foggy, blurry picture of the ghost dance, and then you get Taurus. It's almost like saying you gotta go through this fog, right? You're learning now to become strong in your mind. Your mental energy is breaking through the fog, and you will reach towards your opposite sign and become more like a Taurus, the one that gets the spiritual message, right, in the center of these 2 pillars. Then, of course, we have a 7, and the 7 is either the enlightenment in the crown chakra, or then the 7 in the Kabbalistic tree of life, which is sometimes a weak point. Out of I can become strong, or of course always the spiral can go down or the spiral can go up, right? And that's what the 7 is. But the 7 can also be a success if you then allow yourself to be financially successful, to allow yourself also to be in your roots, right? Because that's what Taurus brings. Then on the position of the Empress comes the High Priestess again, and she's looking almost behind Taurus, and it's saying, yeah, trust your intuition, allow your intuition to bring you everything that you always wanted, the message. And now you get another 5 here because you have the 3 and the 2. It's very interesting, right? So it's like here with the Magician we had then the 23, which became a 5. Then we have a real 5, of course, with the High Priestess above, then becomes a 7. And now you're getting again here a 5 through the Empress. And look at the Empress card. It's so beautiful. Here, these cards are so mystical, right? It's like, wow. It's kind of like, okay, here we have really something that is bringing you almost this eye, this bird's eye, and here's this eye, and it's like it's this triangle pointing in this direction. You see that? I mean, it's like, wow. Okay, so then I get lost in these pictures. So the Empress gives birth to all creations, right? And so you give birth to your intuition. You give birth that you trust your intuition. You give birth that you are a high priestess. And so this is the moment of truth, right? The 5 elements or the 5 senses are actually now letting you know, yeah, you are here behind Taurus. Behind Taurus is his intuition, right? And Taurus is the spiritual teacher that brings then the message into the world. On the position of the Lovers comes the Knight of Pentacles, which is a Virgo. And so, interesting enough, we see the black Sphinx here. The white Sphinx we don't see, right? That's the consciousness that blinds us, that we don't see. And so sometimes it's almost like it's like that's hidden. We need to go into the dark to see the light. And so the black horse is coming, walking behind him, and he is pouring out all these coins, and I calculated them, and it's 11 coins, right? So there are 10 coins on the floor, but he has always that one coin on his back behind him, like this black horse. And it's really interesting when I turn this card around, it's always like the hair makes me want to turn this card around. He is also here below. The masculine can be also be the feminine, the dark, and here the dark, right? But when I turn it up, he's here holding her tight in his arms and saying, I got you, right? You can bring out of yourself whatever it is that you want. I will be there because I am also the earth. I'm also the dark, and out of dark, the light can shine. And so Virgo is bringing you forward into the human path, right? Into that daily, okay, now Gemini is telling me to move forward and to know that I have a Virgo, to know that I have a Taurus here that is helping me to bring this intuition forward, to bring my intuition into this world. Wow, beautiful, right? Then comes on the position of the King of Cups, the 6 of Wands. And the 6 of Wands then speaks about a success, right? And it's always this moment. All right, Jupiter in Leo. And Jupiter is actually moving from the 2nd of June into Taurus. And so Taurus in its own right is here, but you have Odin pointing down to the rune alphabet that says Torah, right? And the Torah has the power to bring you success. So it's almost saying if you trust sometimes that certain messages need to come to you so that you can be really truly successful also on an emotional level, not just financial. This financial success only brings you to a certain level, and then that's it, right? Then we are blocked by the square, because that's the number 4, by the material plane, right? And so here you go into the 6, and the 6 is here, the 6 of Gemini. So Gemini's success is the self-love, a self-love by active taking care of your emotional side. That's what's speaking here to you, because it's your court card here speaking, and he is pointing down not only to the rune alphabet, but he's also pointing down at this 6 and saying, bring that success, bring that victory into your life. It's yours when you really recognize it and you're walking into that. It's almost like he is looking over And he's seeing, yes, I need to take action. I need to really walk. I cannot sit on a horse anymore. I want to walk the talk. Then comes on the position of your card, the death card, right? The Four of Pentacles. And the Four of Pentacles is Sun in Capricorn. And so you have a Taurus, you have a Virgo, and now you have Sun in Capricorn. That the success that you are now seeking and looking for, right, on an emotional level, because you're very emotional, you're very sexual, these are your body parts, right, your sex organs. For Gemini, it's the arms, and of course that's why she's holding herself onto him with her arms and with her hands. And here comes the Four, the responsibility, the stability that the financial energy is bringing to you. And the financial success has walked into the victory. And you have 11 coins plus 4 is 15. 15 makes a 6, right? And so you have then again a 6-6 portal. But in a way there is a coin here as well in the Taurus. So out of 15 we get 16, which is the Tower. And the Tower is usually, as we know, something that says, okay, it's gotta go, it's gotta leave, like death. It's like, that's it. It's crashing down so that something new can grow, right? But let's be here in the Four of Pentacles, the stability, the responsibility that you're taking to be now really truly happy, to be stable, to feel good, and to enjoy what is coming further in your life. And then on the position of the Moon, right, comes the Dream Oracle of Alberto Villoldo, the number 35, the lost compass, getting back to integrity. And the 35, we have the 3, right? On the 3 we had here your intuition is being born, is awakening, is coming into a fruition. The 5, which we know is Taurus, right? Back into the path that you have to go is towards becoming more like a Taurus. That's your destiny. Being born as a Scorpio, your destiny is to incorporate your opposite side, and that's Scorpio. And so here, the evolution that the Moon brings to us, right? And it's like you can see here is this unicorn. The Moon is this evolution out of the water, over land, up into the sky. And so you have the compass, the number 8. Then becomes that infinite spiritual cycle, which is usually always in the Magician. I don't see it here right now. This Magician is not really my favorite card. I have to really admit, it's not, I don't know, it's not, just not, it's not really my favorite Magician, right? But that's what it is, right? That's what these cards bring to us. So see that here's an 18, which then here the 8 and here the 8 can speak about the next step, which the 18 becomes a 9, right? And a 9 and an 8 becomes a 17. And the 17 is the age of Aquarius, is the star, and it feels like a star. Your new compass are the stars. So your evolution is looking up to the stars, is looking up to the Moon, and it is looking up to the planets that are guiding us, that are letting us know what's happening, right? Because this is all one. We cannot just say, oh, well, they're up there, so what? Who cares, right? No, that's what these cards are letting us know. This is your compass. The compass was looking up at the stars, was looking up at the sun, was looking up at the moon. And so you're finding back the path back to your own integrity. And of course, on the position of the moon, right, we had the 4 directions that are here speaking to you directly in this compass, the 4 direction, and the 5th is always then, of course, the 5th element is always love, or is space, or is higher consciousness. The same way we had the 5 here in the ghost dance, that you find your path through the fog, through this inner knowing, through your intuition, always, right? Because that was also a 5. And so here the 5 is inside. And then comes on the position of the sun, here the cave. And the cave is the number 17. And as you can see, the 17 again comes as the age of Aquarius. So the age of Aquarius, the Aquarian King of Swords, is influencing you, right? Because it's this mental energy that is shifting within you. The new way of thinking is also through the AI or the chat GPT, all these things that are now affecting us is mentally affecting us, right? And so here you are learning to protect yourself, because the cave, that deep within, that knowing, that gut feeling, that gut energy is saying, well, the 17 then becomes an 8, and this is an 8, and this is an 8, right? And that 8 is letting you know, well, you are the 8th zodiac sign. You are the number 8 that has the reincarnation, and for some reason you're getting the signs that you might be reincarnated then into a new dimension when you follow this, right? I was doing a drumming circle yesterday, and we had to step over the edge of where we put, let's say, a stick or something that fell for us. When we step over there, we step into a new dimension. And you can always step into a new dimension, because the moon is bringing you a new guiding system, and the 4 directions come up on your position. And now here the sun is bringing you Virgo, and Virgo is helping you to trust more and more your guts, trust that you have everything that you are looking for, and that you just understand more and more what it's all about, because this is the 17, the one that we don't have here, right? But the 1 is the magician, and on the position of the magician came the 22, the ghost dance. And the 7, the success, right? A success that we can recognize that here the Hierophant and the Empress created the 7. So going towards Taurus, intuitive, working with Taurus, walking towards you. And I'm just gonna see if I put them next to each other now. They both look into the left spinning path, so they both know that there is a soul energy, right? But I thought they're gonna maybe look at each other. So you have now the understanding that the sun is making you walk further into the next position, which is then, of course, the world or the universe. And you gotta listen to your guts, that the 7 is here to help you to be the high priestess. The high priestess with the Empress, right? That's the 7 here. And so learn to trust, always. Learn to trust that you know in your guts what's good, what's important for you, and that the path continues here with a Virgo that is going to help you to go forward. And then on the position of the universe, of the world card, right? The 3, the 21, the 2, the intuition, and the 1, the magic in the intuition, comes the moon. And the moon here is speaking about your last reading, right? Where the full moon eclipse, where Taurus was giving the light to your full moon eclipse. And how deep is your love? How deep is your love? Truly, how deep is your love? How deep can you dive into the unknown? How deep can you dive into understanding that the 18 creates a 9? And so here we have, of course, the 9 as the connection of Virgo with the Hermit, right? But it's the 6th zodiac sign, so it's very interesting, right? And the moon is guiding you, and the moon is saying, okay, well, then follow the moon, follow this compass, follow always your inner guidance, listen to your guts, right? They're gonna, it's always gonna tell you where to go and what to do and how to do it, because this is where you're going forward, the human path, right? And learning whatever there is to learn. And so here you can see that the age of Aquarius is leading the path and is actually now the next age. We are going into the age of Aquarius, right? It's going to be 2,150 years in that age. And it's interesting because we have Jupiter in Leo. The victory is that Leo is going to be in the shadow side, but Aquarius is going to walk towards Leo, and Jupiter in Leo is here. So there is a victory helping you to be successful with whatever it is. You have the 8-8 portal. Listen to your guts and check out the moon, because the moon is something so beautiful. Look at that. You can see it's like this is the element that is bringing you the consciousness to look up to the stars and see that the age of Aquarius is upon you. And all of us are sensing that, all of us seeing that the universe is now shifting and changing. And here comes the dragon. See that? A big dragon that is saying, okay, that's the deeper meaning of what's out there in this crazy universe, right? So there's this, look at this wild beast here that is actually shifting your consciousness. We will feel that the moon is coming and going and is bringing us the understanding of change is there all the time. Okay. And I think also that this is going to help you to get through this ghost dance, right? The moon is helping you to connect with that. So I hope I see you in the next reading, because then the earth is spinning in such a way that we see behind the sun the constellation Cancer. In Cancer we have, of course, the water energy. There is not really a water element here. There is the moon, which is connected with water. And I think the next step is going to be the love, right? How deep is your love? Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.